No prizes for guessing why the vicar had chosen the gramophone stand for our meeting with Luke Hutchence. It's a respectable, grey-haired, Tory-voting classical music magazine. Using my handy sex-based universal music filing system of getting round to it during and afterwards music, all of life fits into one of those three categories, their brand of music was so long afterwards that most girls I know would have already gotten up and gone home. It was surrounded by other afterwards magazines, an oasis of afterwards in a building that was otherwise entirely dedicated to getting around to it. And at one of the small round tables sat the old Wrinkly himself, deep in discussion with a man who looked more like a rock star than a stuffy literary agent, tall, with black curly hair and a large presence. "Ah, punk," said the vicar, rising from his chair and offering one to me. "Please allow me to introduce Luke Hutchence, from the Hutchence Literary Agency in New York, founded by your father, I believe." Luke nodded. "Luke, this is Punk Sanderson, the author." The vicar carefully rearranged the papers that had been placed messily on the table. "I must confess, Mr. Hutchence, that I hadn't really heard of your agency until a few days ago," I muttered. "Which is just how we like it," he replied. "We are one of the biggest agencies in the business, yet still have something of a trade secret." "But you do come highly recommended, my boy," the vicar cut in. "As you know, I sent a copy of Punk's pathetic offerings to Karen Aries, successful author and longtime friend. It was while sleeping on Karen's sofa in New York, being awakened by her cat, that I had the vision of what I would do with my life. The vision flew past from left to right, with the music of the first album I would produce going from right to left." Luke raised his eyebrows slightly. "Karen was sufficiently honest to confess that she had no desire to read the manuscript, much as I have no desire to hear all the demos that I get sent. Although," Luke cuts in, "I hear rumours that you'll listen to the first 30 seconds if there is a $10 bill inside." "I should have charged more for much of the rubbish I have endured," the vicar answered. "Fortunately, Karen did it out of friendship. She reluctantly set aside her normal Sunday routine. 1 hour later, she was still reading and sufficiently impressed to recommend us to her own agent. Hence this meeting." The vicar motioned towards Luke. "I certainly like what I've seen," said Luke, "and I think we can claim to be the biggest literary agents in the States." "I did run a check on your company." The vicar looked straight into Luke's eye. "I asked my lawyer, the black-suited, ponytailed beast of terror, Roger Borer, if you were indeed the 400-pound gorilla of the literary world, as Karen described you. He told me that you were not." Luke looked shocked. "Roger tells me," the vicar smiled, "that you are in fact a 500-pound gorilla." Luke relaxed. "Well, they sure don't come much bigger and better than us." "Which is why we are here," the vicar said, "although it is actually Punk who has written the book, Luke, and any publishing deal will be with him, not me." "But there's more than simply a series of books written by Mr. Sanderson, did you say your name was?" "Oh, yes, a complete multimedia launch. The vicar may be the next James Bond, or, in the hands of cheap American television, perhaps Barney Rubble. Who knows? We must trust the process. In Punk's immortal words," he bowed his head and waved his hand to me like a conductor. "Art plus truth equals shitloads of money," I said, taking my cue. "Fine sentiments," the vicar chuckled. "We have another important meeting this evening to discuss television rights." "Champagne?" The girl who'd first greeted me hovered over us with a large champagne bottle and wine glasses. The vicar shook his head. "It is most kind of Richard to let us use his stand without us drinking his best champagne. I must introduce you, Punk. If anyone can rescue your appalling listening habits, it is surely Richard Whitelock, the editor of Gramophone. Music that appeals to the head and the heart rather than the thighs and the penis." "Champagne, sir?" the girl giggled as she turned to Luke. He too shook his head, at which point I realised that I would unfortunately have to decline as well. "Well, I'm confident we can get a publishing deal. The trick will be to find an editor who likes Punk's style, those bizarre rules he keeps giving," said Luke. "Now, rule 402, no one gets to call my rules bizarre. Let me know how you get on with the television people. It will be critical. It's much easier to sell the book to a successful TV series. Mind you, you'll have to be careful not to let anyone steal your ideas." This didn't seem to worry the vicar. "I think that will be difficult, as it is based on the real events of my life. You are the only person to see the synopsis and business plan. I only completed them on Friday, and there are just 3 copies, the master copy and 2 photocopies, which Punk ran off in London before we flew out here. One for you and one for Michael Berenstein." "Yeah, just be careful who else you show it to," Luke repeated. "And now I must go. I'm really just another wannabe musician with a tape to tout." And he took a CD out of his bag and placed a $10 bill on top of it. "Perhaps you would give it a listen." "For you, the first 30 seconds are free," The vicar took it from him with both hands as if it was a valuable treasure. Although I'm not sure that I will be able to help. They shook hands. There, punk, the vicar said as Luke disappeared into the crowd. I have just launched you on the path to stardom. I do hope you deserve it. It is amazing the amount of goodwill that is available to us. He got up. And now I think there is just time to check our lockers before I need to prepare for the conference. The lockers were in a room on the 4th floor. Outside, 2 girls were handing out yet more flyers. Fishnet stockings and rollerblades, commented the vicar. An irresistible combination. They are certainly successful in handing out their worthless slips of paper. Looking at the waste paper basket, they are rather less good at making people actually read them. Such a pointless operation. I don't know, I began. It offers employment to 2 cute, snoggly young girls, and our lockers will no doubt also be stuffed full of worthless flyers. Throw out anything not addressed to me personally, please, punk. The medium guide gave the box number of every attendant. I soon located ours, which was, as the vicar suspected, stuffed to overflowing with junk mail and free CDs. Unless it has my name on it or a $10 bill slipped inside, file it in the bin, the vicar said, bringing me a cup of tea, together with a croissant and a carefully folded napkin. Do you mind if I keep them, I asked? You're always saying I should widen my horizons. Accordion music from Finland, acoustic guitar arrangements of Duke Ellington. Well, there's even another copy of that OSV sampler. That's a bit ogle the tits. They've already put one in everyone's Me Then bag. I picked the CD up and turned it over. I was shocked, no, flobbergobbled, no, scarified to notice that there is a post-it on the back, like the one on my Me Then pass, with another handwritten message. Are you all right? Asked the vicar. You look like you've seen a ghost. Well, I'm fine, I said, slipping the CD into my bag with the other ones. I was just thinking about all that trouble with the Free Music Forum. I took a sip of my tea and was so nervous that I managed to spill it over my crotch. Come, pull yourself together. Look what you have done to yourself. You look a sight, he laughed at me. Perhaps we should take a photograph. There are probably strange adult websites dedicated to people with wet crotches. Yet all these references to pornography were making me nervous. And now I must go and prepare myself. While the vicar slipped away, I looked at the CD. The post-it was on the inside of the shrink wrapping and carried a note in the same terrible handwriting. You should know I have eyes in the back of my head. Don't tell the vicar is what I said. I'm waiting in the conference room now. See you there. The orange eyebrow.
That boy's not good. He's got ears the size of diamonds, broken nose and a twisted face, with a voice that
I'll show you mine if you show me yours. She fluttered her eyebrows at me. Eyebrows! Shit, the orange eyebrow! I turned and surveyed the room again. Quite what I expected to see, I'm not sure.
I see no reason why anybody should get my legendary musications for free. Music has never been free. How is a musician to pay the roof maintaining rent?